"I love someone else," said the Millionaire CEO. 3 years later, he saw ex-wife with triplets. She signed the divorce papers while carrying his children. 3 years later, she returned, not to beg for love, but to show him the 3 sons he never knew existed. And when he falls to his knees in the rain, begging for forgiveness, cameras are already waiting. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I am your storyteller, James. Before we dive into today's story, I just want to say something from the heart. This channel isn't just mine. It's ours. A place where we feel emotions, live through characters, and escape reality for a little while. To all my supporters, I have a humble request. Please hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and if you enjoy these stories, like and share. It helps our channel grow. Every comment, every like, every subscription motivates me to keep writing these emotional, powerful stories for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in this channel. Now sit back, relax, because the story begins. Maya stepped onto the penthouse balcony. Cool air brushed her cheeks. Below her, the city flickered with 1,000 restless lights. She inhaled deeply, grounding herself. This world felt too big, too loud, too unpredictable, except when he touched her, except when he looked at her, except when his presence swallowed the chaos whole. Behind her, the sliding door hissed open. His footsteps were slow, measured, like he already owned the night, or maybe he owned everything. Ethan Walker, billionaire, untouchable, addictive. He stopped right behind her, close enough that she could feel the heat of him, close enough that his cologne curled around her skin. "Maya," he murmured, voice slipping into the dark. She didn't turn around. If she faced him, she'd melt. She already hated that about him. His reflection appeared in the glass panel. Sharp jaw, cold, unreadable eyes, a man sculpted by power and isolation. "You're intoxicating," he whispered. Her heartbeat thumped in her chest. Maya forced herself not to show it. He wasn't allowed to know how easily he could unravel her. "Intoxicating," she repeated softly. "You talk like I'm something you can drink." He smirked. "Maybe I want to." She stepped aside, not far, just far enough to make a point. "You don't get to touch me like that," she said quietly. "Not unless you're ready to marry me." Ethan stilled. Those 2 words, "marry me," landed like a blow. Marriage wasn't something he ever considered. Commitment was a trap, a cage. Promises were chains disguised as rings. His jaw tightened. She could see it from the corner of her eye. "Maya," he said, voice lowering, "you don't understand the world I live in." "Oh, I do," she said. "You take, you leave, you forget." He blinked. Her words hit places he didn't know existed, places he spent years burying. "I'm not asking for your fortune," she continued. "I'm asking for something real." Ethan exhaled slowly. He hated how sincere she was. He hated how she made him feel like a man instead of a brand or a number. Maya finally turned to face him. Her brown skin glowed under the city lights. Her eyes held fire and vulnerability at the same time. She looked like everything he could never deserve. "Marriage," she said again, "or nothing." Silence stretched, not the comfortable kind, the tense, suffocating kind that forces truth out. She held her chin high. "I won't be a secret. I won't be something you use to escape your loneliness." Ethan stared at her, studied her, memorized her. Marriage. He never promised anyone anything, not even affection, not even honesty. But she wasn't like the others. She didn't beg. She didn't cling. She wasn't impressed by his money. She was impressed by character, which he wasn't sure he had. He took one step closer, and another, until he was inches from her. "I don't do promises," he said slowly. Maya swallowed. Then don't touch me. He felt the tension hit his chest. Her rejection wasn't loud, it was lethal. He brushed a loose strand of hair from her cheek. She jerked back. No touching, she repeated. Ethan didn't chase. He simply watched her, mesmerized. Why did she feel different? Why did she make him uncomfortable? Why did his pulse race like he was the one about to lose everything? She tried to walk past him. He caught her wrist, gently but firmly. Maya. She froze. His touch was warm, steady. Let go, she whispered. He didn't. I'm not used to being told no. Get used to it. Her reply sliced through him like a blade. He could buy anything, anyone, but not her. Maya Brooks couldn't be purchased. His grip loosened, their eyes locked. His blue, hers rich, deep brown, full of strength. Something shifted in him, a vulnerability he never allowed, a need he never accepted, a truth he had been running from. He wanted her, not just for tonight, not just for the thrill. He wanted her permanently, and that terrified him. I promise, Ethan said. His voice didn't shake, not even a little. Maya blinked. Her breath caught. What did you just say? I promise to marry you. Her heart skipped. Her throat tightened. She searched his eyes for lies, for mockery. There was none. For the first time, Ethan Walker looked human. Maya stepped toward him, slow, cautious, like she was approaching something sacred. You promise? She whispered. Yes. The city fell away. Her doubts fell away. Everything fell away except him. She finally let herself fall into his arms. He held her like he had waited a lifetime for this moment. His lips brushed her forehead, her cheek, her mouth. The kiss deepened until everything felt like wildfire. He kissed her like she was oxygen, like he couldn't breathe without her. She felt safe, wanted, chosen. But Ethan wasn't thinking about love. He wasn't thinking about futures. He wasn't thinking about a real marriage. He was thinking about desire, about the thrill, about the power of having her. Maya closed her eyes and held on to him. She believed every word, every touch, every promise. She saw forever. Ethan only saw something temporary, beautiful for now, disposable later. He didn't deserve her trust, but he took it. He didn't deserve her heart, but she gave it. Inside, her phone buzzed, ignored, forgotten. Ethan's hand slid down her back. She leaned into him, surrendering. For her, this moment was a beginning. For him, it was only another night. He kissed her again, harder, longer, as if he needed to own the moment. She didn't see his eyes drift to the door. She didn't feel the shift in his energy. She didn't notice distance forming inside his mind. She was too busy falling in love. Ethan was too busy making himself believe he wasn't. They stayed on that balcony, wrapped in each other, watching the world below. Two people in the same place, with two completely different intentions. Maya rested her head on his chest. Thank you, she whispered. For what? He asked. For choosing me. He didn't reply, because in his mind he hadn't chosen anything. He had only decided not to walk away. Yet, inside the penthouse, Ethan's phone lit up on the table, one name on the screen. Grace, nurse. And the message underneath, I miss you. When can I see you again? Maya Carter stared at the thin white stick as if it could rewrite her future. Her breath stuck in her chest, the small screen slowly revealing a truth she wasn't prepared for, a truth that made her knees weaken. Positive. That single word shattered her heartbeat into tremors. Her hands shook uncontrollably as she stepped out of the bathroom, the test clutched tightly, her palms slick with sweat. Ethan Blackwood looked up from his laptop, the glow of the city skyline reflecting in his cold, calculating blue eyes. She expected shock, maybe warmth, or something human, but instead he just stared at her as if assessing a business proposal. I'm pregnant, she whispered, her voice trembling with equal parts fear and hope. Silence stretched between them like a tight thread, ready to snap. Ethan blinked once, his expression unreadable, and then he forced a smile, one that didn't touch his eyes. "We'll get married," he said calmly. Too calmly. "Tomorrow." The room spun. "Tomorrow," she echoed, barely breathing. "Yes," he said, like it was a decision already made, like he was drafting a contract. "We'll handle everything privately." She waited for him to hold her, kiss her, touch her belly, something. But instead he turned away and reached for his phone, dialing someone as if scheduling a meeting. Maya stood there frozen, her heart thudding loudly while he spoke, in clipped, sharp tones to his assistant. She felt small, invisible, as if her presence merely interrupted his perfectly curated life. At night, she lay beside him, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of his steady breathing while her own breaths came shallow and anxious. Every fear she had swallowed grew into something sharp and painful. She wondered if he wanted the baby or just wanted to control the situation. The next morning, a private lawyer appeared at their penthouse with a folder of documents. No flowers, no friends, no celebration, no ring. Just legal papers laid out on a glass table. Maya stared at the blank signature line where her name should go. This wasn't a proposal. It was a transaction. Ethan stood near the window, facing the city like a king examining his empire. "Sign wherever they highlight," he said. His tone lacked affection. It lacked anything at all. Her hands trembled as she picked up the pen. Is this a marriage certificate?" she asked softly. Ethan's jaw tightened. "It's binding," he replied. "It makes things easier." Easier for who, she wanted to ask, but her voice disappeared. He stepped closer, brushing her hair behind her ear, his touch gentle yet distant. "Trust me," he whispered, and for a moment she allowed herself to believe him. She signed. The lawyer slid the papers into a folder, nodded at Ethan, and left without congratulations. Maya stood in the silent penthouse, feeling as if she had just auctioned off her own heart. That night, Ethan ordered champagne for himself and sparkling water for her. He toasted the air like a business win. She forced a smile as he wrapped his arm around her waist, but the embrace felt careful, rehearsed, practiced. In public, he kissed her like she was his victory. In private, his lips barely touched her skin. For 2 months, they lived in hotel rooms instead of a home. Expensive, cold, luxurious spaces filled with passion but lacking intimacy. Their marriage existed in stolen moments between Ethan's endless flights, board meetings, and closed-door calls. Maya kept telling herself that love just needed time, but time became her enemy. She began noticing things, his phone screen turning away whenever she moved closer, late-night text messages from an unknown contact labeled H, whispered conversations that halted the moment she entered the room. Her heart cracked a little more each day. One night she woke to an empty bed, the sheets cold beside her. Panic crawled under her skin. She walked into the living area and found Ethan on the balcony, phone pressed to his ear. "She doesn't suspect anything," he said. Maya stopped breathing. He turned and saw her, quickly ending the call. "Who were you talking to?" she asked. "Work." His answer was too quick, too rehearsed. She stepped closer, her voice barely holding steady. "Are we still a team, Ethan?" He didn't look at her. He leaned down, gave her a quick kiss, the kind that tastes like dismissal, and whispered, "Don't overthink." But she knew. She knew something was breaking. The next morning, she woke up alone. His suitcase was gone. His suits were gone. His toothbrush, his cologne, everything. Gone. Panic rushed through her as she searched the entire penthouse, calling his name until her voice cracked. On the nightstand lay a single note written in his clean, perfect handwriting. "Don't contact me." Her legs buckled beneath her. Tears blurred her vision. She reached for the marriage papers to convince herself that this wasn't happening, that this nightmare had some legal boundary she could cling to. But as she stared at the documents, something caught her eye. Tiny print along the margin. Not a marriage license, a contract agreement. Her breath shattered against the silence. The reality struck like a thunderbolt. She wasn't legally married. She wasn't a wife. She was a legally bound liability agreement, a clause, a temporary solution, a secret. Suddenly her phone buzzed. A message popped up. Ethan Blackwood has filed to transfer financial responsibility. Not husband, not partner. Financial responsibility, like she was a bill. Maya fell to her knees, holding her stomach, whispering apologies to the tiny life inside her. "I wanted you so much," she cried. "I just didn't know I'd be doing this alone." Lightning cracked across the sky outside, reflecting the war inside her. She stayed on the cold floor until her body ached. Hours passed, days passed. Ethan didn't come back. The security at the penthouse changed. She was locked out of financial accounts. His assistant stopped answering her calls. She tried calling Ethan 27 times. Every call went straight to voicemail. She went to his office and was stopped by guards who didn't even allow her into the lobby. "Mr. Blackwood instructed us not to let you in," they said. Not his wife, just Maya. She clutched her belly protectively and walked away, rain soaking her clothes and mixing with her tears. Her life became an echo of unanswered questions. Why did he leave? Who was H? Was the baby ever more than a problem to him? She returned to the empty penthouse that no longer felt like hers. She wandered through the silent rooms, touching the cold furniture. Their wedding night sheets were gone. The gifts he once gave her were gone. All traces of her existence erased. She packed what little she owned into a small suitcase. As she left, she placed her hand on her stomach and whispered, "No matter what he chooses, I choose you." Then she walked out of the penthouse and into an uncertain world, her heart broken, her hope crushed, unaware that Ethan's disappearance was not abandonment. It was betrayal carefully planned long before she ever saw that second pink line on a pregnancy test. And somewhere across the city, Ethan Blackwood stood beside another woman, a woman with red lipstick and a knowing smirk, a woman who leaned into him and whispered, "Finally, she's gone." Ethan didn't flinch. He didn't smile. His eyes remained cold. Yet for the first time his voice cracked when he said, "It's better this way." Because hiding the truth was easier than admitting the darkest part of his soul. He already loved someone else. Maya didn't remember the moment her knees hit the marble floor or when the lights above her smeared into white streaks. Because the only thing her brain processed was pain. Raw, stabbing, suffocating. The kind that squeezed her chest and made her lungs fight for air. She heard voices like distant echoes, footsteps rushing, a phone ringing somewhere far away. But none of it mattered as darkness swallowed the edges of her vision. She felt her body being lifted, hands gripping her arms, voices calling her name. But she couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even cry anymore. She drifted in and out of consciousness as her body was rushed into an ambulance, the sirens blaring like her heart was screaming. Cold air hit her face as paramedics placed an oxygen mask over her mouth, and she saw flashes, bright lights, ceiling panels racing above her, the smell of antiseptic, rubber gloves snapping, machines beeping in panic. Her hand instinctively went to her stomach, terror flooding her veins. The baby. She tried to say it, her lips parted, but only a broken whisper came out. "Please, don't take my baby." A nurse leaned over her, squeezing her hand tightly. "Stay with us, okay? Stay awake." But her eyelids were too heavy, her world too loud and too dark at the same time. Every vibration of the ambulance made the pain worse, and she curled instinctively around her stomach, sobbing into the mask, not caring who saw her fall apart. Her heart was already shattered, and now her body felt like it was collapsing too. The moment the hospital doors burst open, everything became chaos. Rolling wheels, rushing bodies, doctors shouting orders. She felt herself being moved again, pushed into a bright room, clothes cut, needles inserted, machines hooked up. The smell of bleach stung her nose and fluorescent lights burned her eyes. A doctor leaned over her, voice firm but gentle. "Maya, listen to me. You're losing blood, do you understand? We need to stabilize you and the baby." The baby. The words echoed like a lifeline and a dagger. She nodded weakly, her tears spilling sideways into her hair as she lay on the cold metal bed. She hated that she was alone, hated that she had no one there to hold her hand or whisper that everything would be okay. Ethan should have been here. He should have cared. He should have fought for her, for their child, for the life he helped create. Instead, he walked out like she was an expired contract. The betrayal stung worse than the pain, worse than the bleeding, worse than the fear of losing her baby. She tried to inhale, but her chest tightened, panic clawing at her ribs. Her mind replayed Ethan's words like a cruel soundtrack. "I'm done with whatever this was. I love Grace. He never wanted you." The more she remembered, the more her body trembled. Her breath hitched and spiraled into sobs, and the nurse on her left pressed a hand to her shoulder. "You're safe here. Focus on breathing." Safe? The word didn't exist anymore, not when the man she trusted had ripped the ground out from under her feet. Not when the man who promised her marriage had only offered paper lies. When the doctor reached for the ultrasound machine, Maya's whole body shook as she tried to prop herself up on her elbows. Her hands were trembling violently, her voice weak. "Please, please don't let anything happen to my baby. They're all I have." "Please." The nurse exchanged a glance with the doctor, her expression softening with pity. Maya hated that look. She didn't want pity. She wanted stability, love, support, a family. She wanted the future she had imagined on nights when Ethan held her close and pretended to love her. She wanted the baby to feel safe, not born into chaos. The cold gel touched her stomach and she flinched, gasping as the doctor pressed the wand against her abdomen. Maya gripped the sheets as she watched the monitor, her heart slamming against her ribs like a trapped animal. "Come on," she whispered. "Please, come on." For a terrifying moment there was nothing, no sound, no movement. The room seemed to freeze. The doctor adjusted the wand, pressing harder, moving it side to side with practiced urgency. "Come on, little one," the nurse murmured. And then, there it was. A heartbeat, loud, strong, steady. Maya choked on a sob, pressing both hands to her mouth, her tears falling fast. But then, another sound, a second heartbeat, and then a third, rapid, rhythmic, real. The room went silent as the doctor stared at the monitor, stunned. "Maya, there aren't just one." She blinked. The doctor continued slowly, as if afraid she might break. "There are 3 heartbeats. You're carrying triplets." Maya gasped, shock, fear, disbelief, crashing all at once. Triplets. 3 lives. 3 miracles. Her body shook harder, but now it wasn't from panic. This time it was from overwhelming, soul-deep love pouring through her veins like fire. But it was also fear. Terrifying, choking fear. Could she support 3 babies alone? Could she do this? Her tears fell faster, her voice barely a whisper. "I thought I was going to lose them." The doctor straightened, expression serious. "You're stable now, but we need to monitor you closely. Stress is dangerous for your pregnancy. You can't have emotional trauma like this again." Emotional trauma. She almost laughed, a broken, exhausted, bitter sound. Her entire world had been emotional trauma since Ethan walked away. The nurse wiped her forehead gently, brushing damp hair from her face. "Do you have someone we can call? Family? A friend?" Maya stared past them at the blank ceiling, her voice hollow. "No, I have no one." The truth was simple and brutal. Ethan had been her only family, or at least the illusion of one. The nurse squeezed her hand gently. "You have your babies." Maya nodded, tears blurring her vision again. Yes, she had her babies. And she would fight for them, even if she had to fight alone. She thought about Ethan, how he was probably still with Grace, laughing, kissing her, celebrating getting rid of Maya like she was an error in his perfect life spreadsheet. He didn't know that he had just walked away from not one life, but three. Maya turned her head toward the monitor, staring at the flickering heartbeats, mesmerized by the tiny sparks of life. "I'm sorry," she whispered to them. "I'm sorry you heard those words. I'm sorry he didn't want us." Her voice broke. "But I want you. I choose you." The doctor spoke softly again. "You need to rest. Stress could cause early labor, and with triplets, that risk is already high. We'll admit you overnight." Maya closed her eyes, letting exhaustion take over. Her body felt empty of strength, but full of resolve. She wasn't going to break again. She wasn't going to beg anyone to love her. She wasn't going to chase Ethan. This wasn't the end. This was rebirth. She inhaled slowly, hands resting over her stomach. "It's just us now," she whispered to her babies, "and I'll never let anyone hurt you." The lights dimmed as the nurses finished checking her vitals. The steady beeping of the heart monitor steadied her own heartbeat, slowing the panic, slowing the grief. She finally allowed her eyes to close. Darkness swept in, deep, quiet, peaceful. For the first time in months, she slept without longing for Ethan's touch. She slept knowing her babies were alive. And she slept knowing she would never again kneel for someone who wouldn't even reach out a hand when she was collapsing. Ethan may have been her heartbreak, but these babies, these three miracles, were her reason to rise again. A nurse storms into Ethan's office. "Sir, Maya Carter is in the hospital. She collapsed, and she's pregnant with triplets." Ethan's face drains of all color. The world around Maya blazed with flashing red emergency lights. The stretcher wheels screeched across the hospital hallway tile. Cold air hit her skin like shards of ice. Her breath stuttered in short, painful bursts. A nurse pressed an oxygen mask over her mouth. "Maya, stay with us," she urged. Maya tried to nod, but darkness tugged at her consciousness. Her heart pounded wildly, too fast, too scared. "Her contractions are too close together," a doctor called out. They rushed her into a delivery room. Bright surgical lights blinded her exhausted eyes. Pain ripped through her abdomen like lightning. Every breath felt like she was drowning in her own fear. She tried to ask for Ethan. No one answered. No one even looked up. She was alone in a room full of people. The beeping monitor screamed in uneven patterns. "Maya, we have to push," the doctor instructed firmly. She shook her head, tears dripping down her temples. "I'm scared," she whispered. "You're not alone," a nurse assured, squeezing her hand. But she felt painfully alone. Ethan should have been here. Grace stole his attention. Grace stole the moment that belonged to Maya. Pain tore through her again, worse than before. Her fingers curled tightly around the blanket. She forced air into her lungs. "I can't," she sobbed. "Yes, you can," the nurse insisted. "You're stronger than the hurt." She dug into whatever strength was left inside her. The doctor leaned closer. "One more push," she screamed, voice raw with agony. A soft cry filled the room. Then another, and another. 3 tiny miracles, 3 tiny cries, triplets. The sound cracked something open inside her. Warm tears slid down her cheeks. Her heart swelled and shattered at the same time. A nurse placed the first baby against her chest. He was impossibly small, his fingers curled weakly around hers. Then the second was placed beside him. Then the third. 3 sons, her sons. She kissed their foreheads. Her tears dampened their blankets. They smelled like new life and second chances. "You're a warrior?" a nurse whispered. Maya didn't feel like a warrior. She felt like a woman destroyed and rebuilt in the same hour. Her body trembled uncontrollably. Someone wrapped a warm blanket around her shoulders. "You did amazing," the nurse said. Maya only stared at her babies. They were everything she never knew she needed. She memorized their tiny noses and wrinkled eyelids. Their skin was so soft it barely felt real. Her heart pulled tight, aching with fierce love. Her sons were her new gravity, her reason to survive, her reason to fight. For the first time, she felt a flicker of purpose. "I won't let them be hurt," she whispered. Her voice was hoarse but determined. Hours passed in a blur of post-birth procedures. Machines beeped rhythmically. Nurses moved around like quiet shadows. Maya barely noticed anything except the babies. She didn't care that she was bleeding, or exhausted, or heartbroken. All she cared about were those 3 tiny lives. A nurse gently collected them for the NICU. "We just need to run tests," she explained. Maya nodded weakly. Her eyes followed them until the door closed. The silence afterward felt too loud. Reality crashed into her like a tidal wave. She was a mother now, a mother abandoned by the man she loved. A social worker entered the room with a clipboard. Her expression was gentle, but serious. "Maya, we need to discuss something important." Maya tried to sit upright. Pain struck her abdomen. The social worker helped adjust her pillows. "I'm sorry to bring this up today, of all days." Maya braced herself. "Your marriage paperwork is invalid." Maya blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" The social worker lowered her gaze. "The filing was never completed." Maya felt her heart stop. "You mean you were never legally married to Ethan?" The words sliced deeper than any hospital needle. Air left her lungs in a harsh exhale. Her mind reeled. He lied, from the beginning. Her lips trembled. "I gave him everything," she whispered. Her voice cracked like shattered glass. The social worker squeezed her hand. "You deserve better than someone who doesn't choose you." Maya closed her eyes. Memories stormed through her mind like broken film. His promises, his touch, his fake tenderness. All of it was manipulation. Her throat tightened painfully. "I was just temporary." The social worker didn't deny it, because they both knew the truth. A nurse entered with a chart. She checked Maya's vitals. Her tone was warm but professional. "Your boys are strong fighters," she said. The words lifted Maya's lungs just enough to breathe. "They get that from their mother." Maya swallowed a quiet sob. She let the praise sink into her bruised heart. Her sons needed strength. She needed strength. No one was coming to save her. No one was going to choose her. She had to choose herself. And her boys. Her jaw clenched. "I'll raise them on my own." The nurse smiled softly. "That resolve right there. That's motherhood." Maya wasn't sure if it was resolve or survival, but it didn't matter. Her new life had begun. Her sons would know love, real love, unconditional love, not transactional affection like Ethan's, not hollow promises, not cold dismissals. She reached for the bassinet beside her bed. She couldn't hold them yet, but she whispered to the empty cradle anyway. "We don't need him." Her voice shook, but her conviction didn't. "We'll build our own world." The room felt less lonely with those words hanging in the air. She touched her chest where her heart still hurt. Pain reminded her she was alive, and life meant choices. She finally chose herself. A knock interrupted the quiet. The nurse returned, holding an envelope. Her expression shifted into something unreadable. "Maya, these just arrived for you." The envelope was crisp, expensive, cold. Maya's fingers trembled as she opened it. Her eyes scanned the first line. Inside the envelope were annulment papers, already signed by Ethan. 3 years later, the skyline of New York glittered like a promise she built with her own bones. Maya Brooks moved through her office with confidence sharpened by survival. Her clipboard held schedules, budgets, and dreams she refused to let crumble. Bloom and Lux. Events was no longer just a company. It was her second heartbeat, her proof that she chose herself and lived. Her heels clicked across marble floors with authority she never used to possess. She spoke with precision, every word measured and strong. "Stage lighting needs warmer tones," she instructed. "Yes, Miss Brooks," her team answered without hesitation. She earned their respect, not with fear, but with resilience. The world called her the Miracle Woman. They didn't know she cried on bathroom floors between client calls. They didn't know she learned to breathe again through heartbreak. They didn't know the scars beneath her elegant dresses. Only 3 little boys witnessed her cracks. Her sons were her silent strength. The office corner held a small play area decorated with crayons and coloring sheets. Liam sat on a beanbag chair, drawing shapes with intense focus. He was the thinker. He never said much, but observed everything. Jace was the mischievous explorer. He tried to climb the bookshelf again. "Feet on the floor, buddy," Maya warned gently. Jace giggled instead. Eli waddled toward her, golden curls bouncing. He wrapped tiny arms around her calf. "Don't cry, Mama." The words squeezed her heart tight. She smoothed a hand over his hair. "I'm not crying, sweetheart." Not on the outside, never in front of them. She held her emotions like a dam always on the verge of breaking. Her accountant walked past and handed her a stack of invoices. Maya signed every paper with a steady hand. She built this company without investors, without shortcuts, without Ethan. Every event, every client, every sleepless night was proof she could create a future without begging for love. Coffee fueled her days. Determination fueled her nights. She whispered power into existence. Bloom and Lux became the most requested event company in New York. Celebrities booked her. Politicians requested her designs. She transformed empty venues into breathtaking dreams, and every time a client praised her work, a small part of her healed. But healing wasn't linear. Sometimes, when the office was dark and silent, she stood by the window. The city lights reflected the tears she refused to shed publicly. The ghosts of Ethan's abandonment lingered in the shadows. She remembered begging for closure. She remembered the annulment papers. She remembered the babies fighting for life while he built a life with someone else. In those moments, she whispered, "I will never let Ethan break me again." Her voice grew stronger each time. Yet a tiny part of her chest still ached when she thought of him, not because she missed him, but because she once believed he loved her. This morning, her assistant Ava burst into the office, breathless. "Maya, we landed a new premium client." Maya smiled, energized by the news. "Send me the contract." Ava bounced on her toes. "It's huge. Budget unlimited. They want our best team on it." Maya's eyebrows lifted. "Who is it?" Ava checked her tablet. "Walker Industries." The air left Maya's lungs. Her heart froze mid-beat. Her fingertips went numb. No, no, not that name, not that world, not him. Her throat tightened so violently she couldn't swallow. Ava continued, oblivious. "They want an exclusive charity gala. CEO personally requested Bloom and Lux. CEO of Walker Industries. Ethan Walker." Maya steadied her voice before it shattered. "Decline the contract." Ava blinked, stunned. But it's a six-figure booking, her voice trembled. We don't need his money. Ava hesitated. Maya, he already wired the deposit. Maya's chest tightened from the inside out. Ethan didn't just choose her company. He forced the door open. She reached for her pen, but her fingers shook. Her sons watched her silently from their play area. Liam's eyes, deep blue, just like Ethan's, studied her. She forced a smile, hiding the storm inside her. We're fine, she whispered to them. Eli toddled closer and held her hand. Maya inhaled deeply. She straightened her shoulders. She wasn't the girl begging for love anymore. She was the woman who survived abandonment and built an empire. She wouldn't run. Not again. Not from him. Hours later, she arrived at the event venue for the first planning walkthrough. Her team carried decor samples and floral mock-ups. Maya scanned the ballroom with a professional eye. The chandeliers sparkled like diamonds. The marble floor gleamed beneath golden light. She had transformed countless venues. This one would be no different. She instructed the staff with calm authority. Stage here, lighting there. Entrance arrangement is minimal elegance. Her assistant scribbled notes quickly. Maya walked through the space with her iPad, checking the layout. Her chest tightened with every step. She sensed a ghost of a memory pressing against her ribs, but she refused to let fear steer her. She paused near the floral display table. Her heartbeat thudded louder than the ballroom music. That name echoed in her skull. Walker Industries, Ethan Walker, her past, her heartbreak, her undoing. She steadied herself by gripping the table edge. Her voice came out steady. Bring the client file. Ava handed her the folder. She flipped it open. There it was, his signature, his handwriting, just like before. A cold wave ran through her body. She hated that her hands remembered the shape of his name. Maya forced the file closed. I don't care who he is, she murmured. This event will be perfect. Her assistant nodded and rushed off to handle vendor calls. Maya turned toward the center of the room. She inhaled deeply, preparing to focus. She felt a shift in the air behind her. A presence, a familiar energy she once fell for. Her skin prickled. She slowly turned around. Ethan stood behind her, breathless, stunned, whispering her name like it still belonged to him. Ethan froze in place, breath trapped somewhere between shock and disbelief. He hadn't prepared for this version of her, not for the woman who stood tall, confident, and untouchable. Maya wasn't the girl he abandoned in a hospital room years ago. She was composed like a queen, not a memory he once dismissed. Her posture radiated control. Her expression held no tremble, no tears. The strength in her eyes hit him harder than any slap. Ethan opened his mouth slowly. Maya, he whispered as if he didn't deserve to speak her name. She didn't flinch, not even a blink. Her voice was calm, steady, sharp enough to cut marble. You're just a client. The sentence sliced into him with brutal elegance. He deserved worse. She owed him nothing. A muscle in his jaw twitched. He tried to speak again, but words betrayed him. His throat tightened like punishment. For years, pride had shaped his decisions. But the moment he saw her again, his pride turned into dust beneath his shoes. He looked at her like a man who finally realized what he lost. Maya offered him no expression to cling to. Her stillness was a wall he couldn't climb. Ethan swallowed hard, but the sound felt loud in the silent room. His hands hung uselessly at his sides. He wasn't the man in control anymore. Grace's heels clicked loudly across the polished marble floor. Grace moved toward Ethan with practiced confidence. Her red lipstick curved into a smug smirk. She looped her arm around Ethan's, staking claim as if Maya were competition. You're still decorating rooms, Maya, Grace sneered. Her tone dripped with fake superiority. Maya turned her head slowly, grace in every movement. She studied Grace with the same energy someone uses to examine dirt stuck to their shoe. A cool smile curled at Maya's lips. "And you're still desperate for a man who doesn't love you?" Grace's posture faltered. The world stopped breathing. Ethan's eyes widened as if the truth punched him in the chest. Grace stepped back slightly, her fingers slipping from Ethan's arm. Maya didn't shout. She didn't tremble. Her power came from restraint. Her confidence came from survival. Ethan stared at Maya, not with arrogance but awe. His voice cracked. "You look different." Maya tilted her head just a fraction. "Different?" He swallowed again. "Like you don't need anyone." She smiled quietly. "I don't." Ethan's heart dropped to his stomach. He had become a stranger in the presence of the woman who used to love him. The silence wrapped around them like suffocating tension. Grace stepped closer again, trying to reclaim his attention. "Ethan, we should leave," she hissed under her breath. But Ethan didn't look away from Maya. Not for a second. He took one step closer, then another. Maya held her ground, eyes steady and fearless. He lowered his voice. "I want to talk. Alone." Maya looked bored. "My schedule is full." Grace scoffed loudly. "Oh, please, you're still bitter because he upgraded his life." Maya's laughter was soft and lethal. "Upgraded? He went from a woman who loved him to a woman who uses him." Grace's smile vanished instantly. Ethan's gaze softened, admiration slipping into his expression. She wasn't trying to hurt them. She was stating truth, and the truth was enough to burn. Ethan stepped forward again. "Maya, I didn't expect—" She cut him off, voice low and precise. "You didn't expect I would survive without you." His breath hitched, because she was right. He expected her to remain broken. He expected to be unforgettable. Instead, she became someone he couldn't reach, someone who didn't need him, someone he could lose forever. Grace's frustration simmered into anger. "This is ridiculous. We need to—" A door burst open behind them. Tiny footsteps echoed loudly across the ballroom floor. A little boy's voice rang out. "Mama!" Maya turned instantly, instinct taking over her expression. Jace ran toward her, curls bouncing and cheeks flushed. He grabbed her hand tightly. "Mama, we can't find Liam." Maya's entire body tensed. Ethan froze again, this time from confusion. Grace blinked. "What do you mean you can't find? Who?" Jace's voice shook with panic. "Liam. He was here, and now he's gone." Maya dropped her clipboard. Her heart pounded violently against her ribs. Her voice trembled for the first time. "Jace, where did you last see him?" Jace pointed toward the far corner of the venue near the security doors. "He was drawing. Then he wasn't." Ethan stepped closer, alarm replacing shock. "Does someone need help?" Maya glared at him with a warning. "Stay back." She turned to her son, kneeling and gripping his shoulders gently. "Baby, breathe. We'll find him." Jace nodded, tears brimming in his eyes. Maya rose to her full height, voice sharp and commanding. "Ava, security cameras. Now!" Her assistant sprinted toward the control room. Ethan tried to take another step. "Maya!" She cut him with a single look. "I said stay back." Her voice cracked with fear that had nothing to do with Ethan. Ethan finally realized there was something she wasn't saying, something bigger than pride, something that connected them in a way he never expected. Grace whispered sharply, "Maya has kids?" Maya ignored her completely. She scanned the room, eyes wild, desperate. Her heart hammered against her ribs, every second stretched into eternity. Her voice rose with panic she could no longer mask. "Liam!" A child screams from somewhere in the building. "Mama! We can't find Liam!" The shout sliced the air. Maya's pulse exploded, her breath catching in her throat. Her hands dropped the folder she was holding as she spun toward the voice. The elegant ballroom dissolved into chaos in her mind. Blurred lights, rushed footsteps, distant chatter turning into static. She scanned every corner with frantic eyes. Jace, Eli, where did you last see him? She asked, her voice trembling despite every ounce of control she fought to maintain. Eli clung to her leg, tiny fingers shaking. We looked everywhere. He wasn't where we left him. Jace pointed toward the stage, breathless. He went to see the lights. I told him not to go, Mama. Maya didn't think. She ran. Her heels echoed sharply against the polished floor as she pushed through floral arrangements, weaving past tall curtains and equipment stands. Blood pounded in her ears. Her heart felt like it might crack open. Please be okay. Please be okay. And then she stopped, frozen. Liam stood near the stage lights, small silhouette outlined by a halo of warm glow overhead. His little hand rested on a lighting stand as though fascinated by it. But it wasn't the lights that held him still. It was Ethan. Ethan stood a few steps away, paralyzed, staring at the tiny boy as if the earth had shifted beneath him. His expression was unreadable. Shock, disbelief, something raw and undefended. Maya's breath hitched. Liam stared up, features illuminated by the golden stage bulb above him. Those eyes, stormy blue, the exact shade Ethan carried when he was angry, or hurting, or pretending he didn't care. Liam blinked slowly. Ethan blinked too. Two mirrors facing each other. Jace rushed toward the stage, tugging Ethan's coat with his small hand. You look like us, he said very simply, like it was the most obvious truth in the world. The air cracked. Ethan jerked back, stumbling over a cord on the floor, stunned like someone had punched him straight through the chest. What? What did you just say? Ethan whispered, voice scraped raw. Jace tilted his head, confusion knitted between his eyebrows. You have our hair, and our eyes. Eli slid from Maya's leg and walked closer, clutching the edge of her dress with one hand, while his other hand pointed at Ethan's tie. And you wear fancy clothes like Mama said Daddy used to. Maya's spine locked. She could hear her heartbeat in her skull. No, not now. Not like this. Liam stood perfectly still, studying Ethan with unnerving intensity, as if trying to understand something his young brain didn't have words for yet. You look sad, Liam whispered to Ethan. Ethan swallowed hard, the sound audible. He crouched slowly, as though approaching fragile glass. What's your name? Ethan asked. Liam answered softly. Liam Brooks. Brooks. Maya watched Ethan flinch, as though the last name physically hit him. Eli moved closer, wrapping his little arms around Maya's waist. Mama said Daddy broke her heart, he added innocently. Time stopped. Maya's lungs refused to function. Ethan's world shattered right in front of her. His voice dropped to barely a breath. They're mine. Maya stepped forward, positioning herself between Ethan and her children. She blocked him entirely, like a shield. Her voice was steel, forged in betrayal, pain, and 3 years of surviving alone. They are mine, she said calmly. Ethan stared at her like he didn't recognize the woman standing before him. Maya's voice sharpened, a blade sealed in velvet. You lost every right when you chose betrayal. Ethan inhaled sharply as if stabbed. I didn't betray you. Maya laughed, not with humor but disbelief. Ethan, you left me pregnant and alone. You filed an annulment behind my back. You married someone else. His shoulders sank, guilt cutting through him like a storm. I didn't know, he whispered. I swear I didn't know about them. She looked away, jaw trembling, hating that his voice still had the power to shake her. You didn't ask. That was the problem. You never asked. Liam tugged Maya's sleeve. Mama, are we in trouble? Maya kneeled, smoothing his hair gently. No, honey. You didn't do anything wrong. Her voice softened for them. Only for them. Ethan felt his chest fracture at the sight. He tried again. Maya, please, just let me talk to them. She straightened slowly, regaining her armor. No. Ethan's breath left him. No. You heard me. Her voice was firm, unwavering. You don't get to show up in their life now and pretend to care. Ethan flinched again, chest rising in sharp breaths. Maya, I didn't know you were pregnant. She met his eyes full on, no fear left. And if you had known, she asked quietly, would you have stayed? Would you have changed? Would you have loved us? Ethan parted his lips, but no sound came out. The truth was there, hanging between them, heavy and crushing. She gave him no space to answer. I won't let you hurt them. I won't let you touch them. He swallowed. Maya, they're my sons. Her expression hardened like granite. They're my whole world. The room felt like it was shrinking, suffocating both of them. Behind Ethan, heels clicked sharply. Grace. She appeared beside Ethan, snatching his sleeve, yanking him backward possessively. Her voice was syrupy, fake sweetness coated over venom. Ethan, baby, why are you talking to her? Maya held back the urge to laugh. Baby? Ethan's jaw clenched so tightly it could crack. Grace leaned down, eyes narrowing at the children with a cold assessment. Well, she said, voice dripping with jealousy. Looks like someone had hobbies. Maya's hand fisted. You should walk away, Grace. Grace smirked. I'm not going anywhere. Ethan didn't even glance at her. He only looked at Maya, at the boys, at the life he never knew he had. Grace pulled harder on his arm, nails digging into his sleeve. Her voice dropped to a whisper, sharp and frantic. If those kids exist, everything you built could be destroyed. Ethan tears his arm free from Grace and takes one step toward Maya, voice breaking. Maya, tell me I'm their father. Rain hammered the pavement, sharp and cold, soaking through Maya's clothes within seconds. She didn't care. All she wanted was distance. Distance from Ethan, from memories, from the past clawing its way back to life. Her heels splashed through puddles as she pushed open the glass doors and stepped into the storm-darkened parking lot. The sky felt heavy, like it was grieving with her. Behind her, footsteps splashed through the rain. Maya, please, just stop. His voice raw, pained, desperate. She didn't turn. She couldn't. The rain blurred everything, but she knew her tears were somewhere in the mix. You don't get to speak, she snapped, voice shaking with exhaustion and rage. Not after everything you did. Ethan stopped only a few feet behind her, rain soaking through his expensive suit. He looked nothing like the cold millionaire she once knew. So you're just walking away? He asked, voice breaking. She laughed, bitter, ugly, heart-shredding. You walked away first. Remember. The parking lot lights flickered, reflecting off the wet pavement. Maya felt her chest tightening, breath thinning, pulse racing. You destroyed me, she whispered, each word slicing out. You didn't just leave, you erased me. She kept walking, hand trembling as she unlocked the car. Ethan's steps splashed faster behind her. Let me explain. The irony burned. She stopped and finally turned. Explain, she repeated, voice rising. How do you explain abandoning a pregnant wife? He flinched, guilt carving across his expression. Maya, No. The word was a blade. You don't get to rewrite what you did. Rain slid down her face like tears she refused to shed. You made a choice. A selfish, gutless choice. He swallowed hard. I was scared. So was I, she screamed. Lightning cracked in the sky. But I didn't run. She pressed a hand against her chest as if trying to hold herself together. I begged you to stay. I begged you to choose us. Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper. Maya! The pain inside her flashed into anger. Yes, say my name like it suddenly matters. He looked like a man standing on shattered ground. I never stopped thinking about you. Thinking doesn't raise children. The rain kept falling, relentless. He stepped closer, hesitating, like approaching a wounded animal. Maya, look at me. She refused. Her silence was louder than screaming. Ethan's voice cracked. I know I broke you. You didn't break me, she whispered. I rebuilt myself. That truth was pure steel. Something shifted inside Ethan. Regret, realization, fear. He closed the distance. Maya, I won't lose you again. She laughed softly, painfully. You already did. Then, before she could move, he dropped to his knees, right there, in the pouring rain. Her breath froze. No, she whispered. People exiting the hotel slowed, staring at the scene. The powerful Ethan Walker, kneeling on wet asphalt, looked shattered. Rain dripped off his lashes and jaw like tears he never shed. I was scared of loving you, he confessed. I didn't know how to be the man you needed. Maya turned away because watching him hurt. It's too late. He reached out, not touching her, just reaching. I'll spend the rest of my life proving it's not. Every step she took away felt like tearing her own heart out. Behind her, she heard a tiny voice gasp. Mama, he's crying. Jace, wide-eyed, dripping wet, held onto the edge of her jacket. She froze. Ethan looked up at his son. His expression collapsed. He whispered, barely audible over the storm. I don't deserve you. Liam and Eli stood beside Jace, watching in confused silence. Their curls plastered to their heads with rain. Their small hands clutched Maya's coat. Ethan raised a shaking hand toward them, hesitant, terrified. I will fight for you. Not because I have a right, but because you deserve a father who tries. Maya's heart clenched painfully. He finally cared, but too late. She swallowed the ache and forced steel into her voice. You don't fight for what you threw away. Ethan flinched as if she slapped him. Rain pooled around his knees, soaking him completely. He looked smaller, less invincible, more human. His voice shook. Just tell me how to fix this. You can't, she whispered. Jace tugged her sleeve again, voice tiny. Mama, can we go home? That simple question sliced her. Home, safety, away from memories. She picked up Eli, taking Liam and Jace by the hands. She walked toward the car without looking back. The boys followed, silent and confused. Ethan stayed kneeling in the rain, not moving, not breathing, just breaking. As Maya opened the car door, a faint sound cut through the storm. A click. More clicks. Camera shutters. Someone was taking pictures. Maya stiffened. Her eyes cut to the shadows near the hotel entrance. Grace stood there, holding her phone, smirking, framing shots of Ethan on his knees. Proof, leverage, a weapon. Grace lowers the phone, eyes gleaming. This photo will destroy him. Grace zoomed in on the photo of Ethan kneeling in the rain, her smile sharp enough to cut skin. She knew exactly what she was about to do. Revenge wasn't about hurting Ethan. It was about destroying Maya. She hit send. The photo shot across the world. Within hours, tabloids devoured it. Bloggers twisted it. Strangers judged it. Ethan had no idea what storm waited for him. Maya didn't either. Morning arrived with chaos. Ethan's phone exploded with notifications. He rolled over, groggy, unaware of the disaster. Then he saw the headline. Ethan Walker abandons long-term girlfriend for unknown woman with children. His blood ran cold. He clicked the article. There it was, the photo of him kneeling in the rain at Maya's feet, taken from an angle that looked humiliating, manipulated, weaponized. He scanned the comments. He's pathetic. Who is the mystery mother? Those kids look nothing like him. His chest tightened. People were tearing Maya apart online. He searched for Grace's name at the bottom of the article. There it was, photo credit, Grace Hartwell. Ethan's jaw clenched so hard it hurt. He grabbed his keys. He didn't bother with an umbrella or a coat. He just ran. Elevator. Lobby. Street. His heart pounded like a war drum. Rain started again, as if the sky remembered last night. He arrived at Grace's building. He didn't knock. He shoved the door open. Grace turned slowly, already expecting him. She wore victory like perfume. "You leaked it," Ethan said. His voice wasn't loud. It was lethal. Grace shrugged, sipping her coffee. "The world deserved to know." "You didn't expose the truth," Ethan said. "You twisted it." Grace's smile thinned. "You were kneeling for her. Not me. They deserved to see who you chose." "You humiliated her," he hissed. "You dragged innocent children into a scandal." Grace slammed her mug onto the table. "You owe me." Ethan blinked, stunned by her delusion. "I owe you nothing." "I stayed when you pushed everyone away," she screamed. "I helped you rebuild your company." "You helped me stay numb," he corrected. Grace froze. Ethan stepped closer, eyes cold. "I was never broken." "I just chose the wrong woman." Grace's lip trembled, fury turning her voice brittle. "If those kids exist, your career is over." "I don't care," Ethan said. "I care about them." Grace stared at him as if he'd spoken a foreign language. "You'd give up everything? For her?" He didn't hesitate. "Yes." Her face twisted. "You'll regret this." He walked away from her for the last time. The rain hit his face like needles as he got back in his car. He drove straight to Maya. His hands shook on the steering wheel. He replayed the photo in his mind. Maya didn't deserve this. The boys didn't deserve this. He parked outside Bloom and Lux. Inside, whispers echoed. Everyone had seen the photo. Everyone had read the lies. Maya stood in her office, staring at the tabloids on her laptop. Her expression was numb. Her heart wasn't. Her assistant hovered nearby. "Maya, do you want me to call security?" Maya shut her laptop quietly. "No. I want silence." She walked into the hallway. Ethan stood there, soaked again, breathing hard, eyes full of guilt and something raw. Love. "Maya," he whispered, "we need to talk." She didn't blink. "You should leave." Ethan stepped closer, voice low. "I didn't leak that photo." "I know," she said softly. "It was Grace." Hearing her name out loud felt poisonous. Ethan searched Maya's face, desperate for forgiveness. "You didn't deserve what she did." "You didn't deserve what you did," Maya replied. He flinched. Fair, true, undeniable. "I will fix this," he promised. "For you." She looked at him with exhaustion, not anger. "You can't fix me." He swallowed. "I don't want to fix you. I want to fight for you." Little footsteps echoed. The triplets peeked from the corner. Eli held his stuffed tiger to his face. Jace gripped the wall with small hands. Liam stood still, studying Ethan. The boys walked toward them. Liam stopped first. He looked right into Ethan's eyes. "Do you love Mama?" Ethan knelt down because he finally understood love wasn't pride. "Yes," he said, "with every beat of my stupid heart." Maya's breath caught, not because he said it, but because he meant it. Jace stepped closer. "Are you gonna leave again?" Ethan's voice cracked. "No, never again." Eli tugged on Maya's hand. "Mama, he's sorry." She felt her throat tighten. Sorry wasn't enough. Pain didn't vanish. Wounds didn't seal from apologies. Ethan stood. He looked at her like she was home. Maya inhaled slowly. Her heart pounded with old hurt and new danger. "You want a second chance?" Ethan nodded. "I'll spend my life proving I deserve it." She stepped close enough that he could feel her breath. Her voice was quiet, deadly, trembling with control. "Prove it." Ethan froze, not because he didn't expect it, but because he understood the weight of those two words. Prove it. Not with promises, not with words, with actions, with consistency, with truth. Her phone buzzed. An alert flashed across the screen. His blood drained. Walker Industries Emergency Board Meeting. Ethan looked up at Maya, chest tight. Maya whispered without blinking, "Prove you can fight, without using us as your reason." Ethan turns toward the door, because proving himself might cost him everything he owns. The triplets shout, "We're a family now." Maya freezes at the sound of those words. They bounce through the room like confetti she never asked for. But the hope in their voices is soft and honest, the kind that aches. Ethan swallows hard, watching her reaction. He doesn't rush. He doesn't touch her without permission. He lets her breathe. He lets her choose. Because love without choice is not love. Rain taps the windows like a steady heartbeat. Maya looks at the ring he gave her. Not grand, not extravagant, just real. A promise without diamonds or manipulation. Ethan reaches for her hand but stops before touching. "May I?" he whispers. She nods slowly. His fingers brush hers, gentle, unsure, like he's afraid she might vanish. Maya blinks back tears. Years ago, he grabbed her hand to control her. Now he holds it like it's glass, like she decides everything. The boys watch wide-eyed. Jace stands on his tiptoes, curious. Liam crosses his arms, analyzing. Eli hugs Maya's leg, trusting. Maya kneels to meet her son's eyes. "We're not rushing anything," she says softly. "We take this slow." Liam studies Ethan's face. Slow means, "No hurting Mama?" Ethan kneels too, eye level with them. "No hurting Mama," he vows. "Ever again." Jace tugs Ethan's sleeve. "And no disappearing?" Ethan nods. "No disappearing." Eli lifts his tiny pinky finger. "Promise." Ethan links his pinky with the boys. "Promise." Maya's chest tightens. She remembers begging for these promises years ago. Now he gives them freely. Without pride, without ego, without conditions. Ethan stands and clears his throat. "Okay," he says gently. "Bedtime for future groomsmen." The boys gasp. "We're groomsmen?" "Only if Mama says yes," Ethan replies. He looks at Maya again, not demanding, just waiting. Maya ushers the boys to bed. Ethan turns off lights behind her, silent support. Upstairs, she tucks Eli in first. He whispers, "Is Daddy staying forever?" Her heart squeezes. "Yes," Maya whispers. At least, she wants to believe that. Ethan watches from the doorway. The sight steals his breath. She is magic, strength and softness in one body. He wonders how he ever walked away. After the kids sleep, Maya heads downstairs to the living room. Ethan follows, keeping a respectful distance. On the couch, she pulls her knees to her chest. Not defensively, just thoughtful. Ethan sits on the floor near her feet, close but not touching. He looks up at her. "I used to think success meant power." "It doesn't," Maya replies quietly. "It means responsibility." Ethan nods. "I know that now." He rubs his palms together nervously. "I used to fear loving you." "I know. I used to think love would trap me." Maya meets his eyes. "And now?" Ethan tilts his head, expression raw. "Now I'm terrified of losing you." Silence settles. Heavy. Honest. She exhales slowly. People don't change overnight. "I didn't," he says. "I changed over every sleepless night I spent missing you." Her throat tightens. "That's not the same as growing." "You're right," Ethan murmurs. "But raising 3 kids who glare at me when I mess up?" That builds character fast. A small laugh escapes her. She tries to hide it. He notices. His eyes soften. That's the first time you laughed around me. Don't read too much into it, she warns. He smiles anyway. I'll take what I can get. Maya stands and moves toward the kitchen. He rises too, instinctively, ready to help. She pours water into 2 glasses, hands one to him. Their fingers brush. Electric. Unavoidable. She pulls her hand back too fast. He pretends not to notice the tremble. She leans back against the counter. Marriage isn't just rings and promises. I know, Ethan says. It's showing up every day. It's being safe. It's choosing each other even when it's hard. He nods, taking her every word like scripture. I will build that life, not just talk about it. She studies him. No arrogance in his posture, no entitlement, just sincerity. Maya steps closer. One condition. His breath catches. Anything. You go to therapy. He blinks. Therapy? Yes, she says firmly. You have trauma. You have patterns. And I won't be collateral damage again. He inhales, slow, grounded. I'll do it. She searches his eyes. No defensiveness. No anger. He smiles faintly. Do you want me healed or just quiet? Something in her chest softens. She didn't expect that answer. She didn't expect him to understand. Her voice drops. Healing is messy. So is love, he replies. Rain continues outside, painting silver streaks on the window. Maya moves closer, close enough that she can feel his warmth. He waits, still learning patience. She lifts her hand to his face. He closes his eyes. Her thumb brushes the edge of his jaw. You're trying, she whispers. I am, he breathes. I'm trying to be a man worthy of you. She cups his face with both hands now. He leans into her palms like a man starved. Then keep trying, she whispers. He nods. Until my last breath. Their foreheads touch, soft, real. The door creaks upstairs, footsteps patter. Jace appears, sleepy-eyed. Daddy, he mumbles. Ethan straightens. Yes, buddy? Jace rubs his eyes. I had a bad dream. Ethan kneels beside him. What happened in it? You left again. The words slice through Ethan's heart. He pulls Jace into a hug. I will never leave you. Maya watches, arms folded over her chest. Not out of distance, out of awe. Jace buries his face in Ethan's shoulder. Promise? Ethan kisses his forehead. Promise. He carries Jace back to bed. Maya follows quietly. In the boys' room, Ethan tucks Jace in. He whispers a story, not from a book, but from his heart. Once there was a boy whose father didn't know how to stay, so the boy taught him how. Jace smiles in his sleep. Ethan lingers, watching them breathe. The peace on their faces breaks him open. When he turns, Maya is there. She whispers, You're learning. I'll learn whatever I need to, he replies. They walk back to the hallway. They stand close. Not touching, just breathing the same air. Maya whispers, barely audible. So, marry me? Ethan freezes. Are you saying yes? She nods. But not because you begged. He nods. But because you've earned another chance. He swallows the lump in his throat. Then yes. He reaches into his pocket. The marriage license shakes in his hand. She signs first. Then he signs, ink sealing what Hearts almost destroyed. He cups her face gently. So this is it, Maya whispers. This is our forever. He kisses her, slow, tender. Not desperate, not claiming, just belonging. The rain softens outside. The house feels full, warm, whole. He whispers against her lips. I choose you. Every day. She whispers back. Then don't stop proving it. They hold each other, breath steady. Together. Finally. Just as they relax into their new forever, Ethan's phone buzzes. A single text flashes on the screen. "We need to talk. DNA results came in." From Grace.